Well, here we go. The quarterfinals are upon us, and knockout rugby in the World Cup is here. I actually can't wait for this weekend. It seems it's been building, well, all week really. I know I haven't posted a video in over a week. Most of you, I think, know I was in France for the England game. It was so good. Just the atmosphere. I was staying in Paris and then travelled to Lille on the Saturday to watch England. It's just amazing. So fair play to France and fair play to all, well, of the fans and you guys, I guess, for embracing it and taking part. As you can see, I did get some merchandise of my own. I got a JG Rugby flag, which I think if you go to the highlights on England Rugby's video, you can actually see the flag just to the left of Owen Farrell as he's walking out. So go spot me, we're getting famous and we're growing the channel that way. But on to more important things, my team selection for the quarterfinals. It's here. It took pretty much some deliberating. Some players were set in stone for pretty much the whole week. The team sheets didn't really change much of my team, but nonetheless it was pretty difficult. So let's see who I've picked for the quarterfinals. As always, if you are new around here, then please subscribe to the channel. We've also now got a Discord, so if you have Discord or you want to, I guess, chat with me and other in the community, then yeah, join our Discord, JG Rugby. Link will be down in the description. So let's get straight into it. My front row for the quarterfinals is as follows: Thomas Gallo, Jamie George, and Luke Taggi. So we all know Thomas Gallo, well, hopefully we do from this World Cup anyway, has scored pretty decently, to be fair, for a prop, and also stays on near enough the whole 80 minutes for Argentina. So I do expect, with this being a knockout game, that he's going to play pretty much 70 minutes or so. Against Samoa, he ran absolutely rampant, scored 41 points. That was even without a try. I do expect their pack to be pretty decent as well. I know Wales also have a pretty decent pack, but that set piece battle will be crucial for the game. Jamie George is in, probably similar to Gallo. He effectively plays the whole game. Well, he definitely did against Samoa anyway, and I probably expect that's going to be the same if it's a close and tight affair, which I probably do expect against Fiji. He also just scores pretty decently. All 3 games that he's played in, he scored almost 40 points, and I definitely take that in this round. Not scored too many tries either though. Actually, I don't think he's scored a try at all this campaign, which is unusual because Steve Borthwick obviously loves lineouts, so I would expect England's hooker to rack up a few tries. So that's going to be key. That set piece battle, they're going to want to strangle Fiji, so that's where I see that playing out. And then finally, Luke Taggi has been, well, pretty decent for point scoring as well, for a prop at least. I am a bit concerned here, and to be honest with you, it was probably a budget thing more than anything. I don't know if anyone else has struggled with budget, but we obviously have the best players in the world and the most expensive people within fantasy playing in these quarterfinals. So Luke Taggi at 3.5 was a decent option, and he's one of the highest scoring props in the game. I don't really expect them to win scrums outright against England every time, but he's going to be decent. He's going to carry the ball. So that's effectively why I've picked him. Next up in the second row was another chance for me to, I guess, get more budget elsewhere. So I've actually gone with Will Rowlands, who's 5.5, and Petty for Argentina, who's actually only 4 credits in fantasy. Will Rowlands has been one of the standouts for Wales, and to be honest, fantasy, especially for the second row position. 48 points against Fiji, 10 against Australia, which, yeah, they had most of the ball. But again, 34 against Georgia, which is pretty decent for a second row. I do also expect Argentina to have more of the ball and more possession in this game. I think it just suits their style, and Wales love to defend. So I do expect Rowlands to make close to 15 plus tackles in this game, which he's really good at. If he can get a few turnovers in there as well, then yeah, we're going to be laughing with points. Similar to Rowlands, Petty has been, I guess, pretty much a second row star in fantasy rugby in this World Cup. Really cheap, and to be honest, gets okay points. He hasn't, I guess, shone the world alight at the moment, but at 4 credits, I don't think you can complain. And 13% of people playing have already selected him, so he's a really good cheap option. If Argentina are to, I guess, break through with line breaks, or even defensively, Petty's a second row / back row, so look, I think he can be pretty decent for their game. Now, in the back row, I do expect my back row to do some pretty decent things, to be honest. And reason for that, I've picked essentially the most expensive players. So I've gone with Charles Olivon, who we all know is France's basically number 2 captain outside of Dupont. Jack Morgan, who is Wales's captain and probably maybe player of the tournament so far, definitely for Wales at least. And then we've got Ardie Savea, who again is captain material for the All Blacks. So Charles Olivon, I've picked him a fair few times already this World Cup. Really good point scoring. Against New Zealand in the first game, he scored 33 points, which I think's actually okay. Made 15 tackles. We know New Zealand like to play with the ball. South Africa are going to obviously want to defend a little bit more than New Zealand, but Olivon sits out in those wide channels a little bit more as a back rower, so can get good line breaks and meters made as well. Similar to Olivon, Jack Morgan sits in those wide channels, gets really good meters, and look, we all know what he can do defensively. He puts people on the back foot, and look, in fantasy, that essentially equates to a fair few decent points. Also, loves a try as well, so I wouldn't put it past Jack Morgan to pick up a try or two as well. The defence, though, is going to be probably paramount in this game. I think Argentina will want to keep the ball. Wales will want to keep territory gain, kick the ball a little bit more, and therefore defend. And we all know how well they can do that, especially Jack Morgan. Then finally, Ardie Savea. So he's pretty much going to stay on the whole game if he's fit. 36% of people have selected him, so not really a differential. However, some really good points scored already. Italy, he scored 92 points. We all know he scored a couple of tries. But they are going to want to keep the ball, and Ardie Savea is one of their most dangerous and probably the highest ball carrying player for New Zealand. Ireland obviously love to attack, but they can also defend as well. I think Ireland are going to be comfortable in defence, but people like Ardie Savea can definitely disrupt that. Then into the halfbacks, I have actually gone with Antoine Dupont. So he is starting and he is captain. We do expect him to probably wear some sort of headgear. It's really good for the World Cup that he's actually back involved. So really good to see. I hope he is actually fully fit. And also I've gone with Marcus Smith at 10. As you can see from today's team sheet, he is at fullback, having replaced Freddie Stewart. So that just gives you an idea of the way England want to play. But every time Smith is on the team sheet, he definitely plays. So as we said, Dupont, has just scored some pretty decent numbers in this World Cup. Namibia, where he unfortunately got injured, so was only on for like 55-60 minutes, scored 106 points, albeit it was against Namibia. But New Zealand racked up almost 30 points, so I think that's pretty decent. I do hope he has a better game in this one. It'll take some magic, i.e. Dupont magic, to break through that South African defence, so that's why I've picked him. He's also the best player in the world, so to be honest, I was deliberating not picking him, but how can you not, especially on the world stage like a quarter-final. And as for Marcus Smith, well, he's obviously a 10 playing at fullback, so that's slightly beneficial for fantasy because he can essentially just rack up a few more metres than he would do at 10. He also is basically that second receiver for Owen Farrell, so can get lots of line break assists too, which also give you points in fantasy. Watching the game last Saturday against Samoa, Smith came on and basically changed the game for England and the way they attacked, just with a little bit more intensity. He also scored over 100 points against Chile, and he did play at fullback in that one. So let's hope he can unlock that magic again. In the centres, I've gone for, two of the top performing centres in the game in terms of points in fantasy. That's George North and Bundy Aki. So both pretty hard running centres. George North has scored actually really well for Wales in this tournament so far. 54 points, 34 points and 55 points again. He just offers something really different to that Wales backline. He obviously was a winger, bagged loads of pace. Maybe have lost a bit of that pace coming into his 30s, but he's powerful as ever and he just gets good go forward and really good line breaks for Wales. So I think he's a must-have, especially with the fixture against Argentina. And as for Bundy Aki, well, whether Ireland have the ball or not, he's going to be involved. Bundy Aki, we all know he can carry the ball super hard. Against Damien Dialende, it might be a bit more challenging than, say, I don't know, a Romanian 12, for example. However, in defence as well, Aki's going to be pretty solid and helping out Johnny Sexton wherever he can. So I think Aki's just going to be involved in the game overall. And he's been pretty much a star player for them. So I do hope he can hopefully unlock that South African defence just with his sheer brutality. And then finally, you're probably wondering where my captain pick is and where my booster is. Well, they're both here. So captain, I've gone with Louis Samet. Captain choice was pretty difficult if I'm perfectly honest. I've gone with one of the weaker fixtures. Hopefully it pays off. Secondly, Tomo Ramos. I've gone with the super kicker. I think that game's going to be really tight. Both super good defences, super good attack. Kicking, it will probably come down to, right, it's a quarter-final at the end of the day. And then, obviously, on the other wing is Damien Penaud. The guy is ridiculous, going to want to get top try scorer. And I certainly hope he does it because he's in my team. Tomo Ramos as my super kicker. I had him as super kicker against Italy in the last game, and yeah, served pretty well for me. I think he picked up I think it was over 16 or maybe 18 points just on that kicking boost alone. And in a quarter-final, kicking is going to be super important. So look, that's why I've picked him, but he's also such a good running threat for France as well. At home too, in their own World Cup, I do feel like France are going to thrive, which is why I've got 4 French in this team. No South Africans, of course. That's not saying I'm writing them off. I actually had them down to win the World Cup at the start. But I just feel, maybe in terms of fantasy points, I think France are a little bit better if they can get their game going. And then finally, the main man, Damien Penaud. So the guy scored some pretty ridiculous points. Almost 50% of people have picked him in fantasy. So even though he's not a differential, I don't think you want to miss out on him. 52 points against New Zealand, absolutely crazy. New Zealand, we know, one of the best teams in the world. 166 points against Namibia, and then 82 against Italy. And Italy definitely aren't a bad team. South Africa are going to be definitely a stern test. I do think France will break through that South African D though. It's not as solid as 2019, which I think Ireland definitely unlocked a little bit, and I think France can probably do the same. So I'm definitely hoping Penaud turns a flare on like we know he can. Well, there we have it. That's my team for the quarterfinals. To be honest, I am pretty nervous. I'm not first in my mini leagues at the moment, and the players and differential picks are becoming tighter and tighter. I have picked pretty much the best players from this round. I have gone all in on, say, France and Wales, so I am expecting them to get the W. However, let me know down in the comments what you think. I think it's a pretty solid team, but I say that every week, and yeah, some weeks I get disappointed, but other weeks we do pretty well. Captain picks were really hard too, so let me know down in the comments who you're picking for that and which booster you're playing too. If you did enjoy the video, then subscribe, turn notifications on to not miss a video. But super excited for this weekend, and I hope you all do well in Fantasy too. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.